Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're not just looking at a soccer match. We're peeling back the layers of an encounter that, well, on the surface, presented a really stark contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this.
Mm-hmm.
One team, right, they've registered a staggering 28 shots on goal, just dominating possession territory.
Yeah, complete dominance on paper.
Exactly. Yet, the final score, a narrow, hard-fought 1-0. And here's where it gets really compelling. The goalkeeper for the losing team
The loser.
and was universally celebrated as the man of the match. He even, candidly drew parallels to a past historic upset victory against
Oh, yeah.
Germany.
Wow.
Doesn't that immediately make you wonder what really happened on that field?
It absolutely does, because that's just not a typical scoreline, is it? And it tells you so much more than just who won and lost. It's like a rich tapestry woven with extreme conditions, a fascinating tactical chess match between really different styles,
Yeah.
moments of just astonishing individual brilliance, and it gives us some pretty significant insights into, the evolving landscape of global soccer.
That's right. So we're plunging into this high-stakes match between the European powerhouse Borussia Dortmund and the reigning Korean champions Ulsan Hyundai. A pivotal clash in the inaugural, newly expanded 2025 FIFA Club World Cup.
The very first one like this.
Exactly. Our mission today is to go way beyond that seemingly simple 1-0 result. We're going to meticulously unpack the blistering weather conditions that shaped the game,
Mm-hmm. Can't ignore those.
dissect the strategic maneuvers used by both coaches, highlight those absolutely remarkable individual performances, especially from the keepers, obviously, and consider what this game teaches us about the future of global soccer tournaments.
Right.
By the end of this deep dive, you, our listener, should walk away not just informed, but really well-versed in the critical nuggets of knowledge about what genuinely went down on and off that field.
It's a perfect case study, really, for this new era of club soccer. We'll explore how, a highly touted European tactical machine came up against this incredibly resilient Asian defensive organization and, well, goalkeeping excellent. We'll also look at the very real challenges posed by those conditions, which were, frankly, unprecedented for this kind of stage, and the historical significance, too. First ever meeting between a German and a Korean club.
Huge.
So yeah, let's unpack this compelling narrative.
Okay, so to really appreciate the depth of this match, let's start by setting the monumental stage it was played on. This wasn't the FIFA Club World Cup you might remember from, say, 5 or 10 years ago, was it? This was something totally new.
Not even close, no. This was the maiden voyage, the very first edition of the completely reimagined and vastly expanded FIFA Club World Cup. Historically, it's been, a much smaller, often annual tournament.
Yeah, like 7 teams, right?
Exactly, just a handful of continental champions. But this one, transformed into a quadrennial event every 4 years, just like the main World Cup,
Yeah.
and it featured a massive 32 teams from across all 6 confederations. Ran for a whole month, June 14th to July 13th, 2025. So this wasn't just an expansion, it was a fundamental redefinition, really designed to elevate its global presence, its commercial appeal, make it a genuine showcase of the world's best club teams.
And when you describe it as global, I mean, it truly was on a continental scale just for the host nation, the U.S. This ambitious new tournament wasn't just in one city or even a couple.
No, spread right out.
It was strategically spread out across 12 different cities in the United States, which, that geographical sprawl highlights the immense logistical undertaking, but also FIFA's clear intention to present soccer on this grand national stage, showcasing its growing popularity across diverse American markets.
Absolutely. It really underscores the global nature of this event, trying to bring club soccer to, well, unprecedented audiences.
Right.
And the tournament structure itself, scaled up significantly, directly mimics the familiar FIFA World Cup format fans know. Started with a robust group stage, 8 groups, 4 teams each. Top 2 from each group. They advanced to a knockout round of 16. So this particular match, Dortmund versus Ulsan Hyundai, was crucial. It was part of Group F, the third and final group stage game for both clubs.
So everything on the line.
Pretty much. For both teams, it represented the ultimate chance to secure passage to the knockouts or, face immediate elimination. Huge pressure added to an already significant occasion.
So with that grand vision in mind, let's zoom right in. The specific location for this encounter, TQL Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a relatively new place, state-of-the-art venue, about 26,000 seats, known for a pretty vibrant atmosphere during FC Cincinnati's MLS games.
Yeah, good stadium.
But here's where the narrative takes a bit of a surprising turn, and it really makes you kind of scratch your head. Despite the setting, the prestige of a Club World Cup match, a high-space group decider, only, get this, 8,239 actual spectators showed up.
8,000, wow.
Yeah, that's a stadium running at just over 30% capacity.
That is a curious detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you hear that, high-profile folks like U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and FIFA President Gianni Infantino were supposedly there.
Right. Underscores the importance they placed on it.
Exactly. So it naturally makes you ask, and you, the listener, should think about this, why would such a big match, part of this inaugural major tournament, draw such, well, comparatively low attendance? Was it just the market? Maybe lack of local fans for these specific clubs? Or were there other, maybe more impactful environmental factors at play?
And I think when you look at the conditions on the ground that day, at least part of that answer just screams at you. Fiery intensity. This wasn't just a warm day. It was scorching, oppressive heat.
Yeah, I saw the reports. Brutal.
We're talking a blistering 93 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 33 Celsius, with an official high-temperature warning issued for the area. This wasn't just uncomfortable for fans. It was a serious, potentially dangerous factor for the players, and a huge deterrent for anyone thinking about spending hours out in the open.
Oh, absolutely brutal for elite athletes. This kind of extreme heat would have had a profound immediate impact on almost everything. Physiologically, players fatigue faster, heart rates go up, higher risk of heat illness.
Of course.
It forces coaches to think more conservatively, tactically, maybe prioritize keeping the ball, make more subs than usual just to manage player welfare.
Right, you have to.
And for fans, enduring that for a whole match, that's a massive ask, undoubtedly contributed to the lower turnout. And this situation, it connects directly to broader discussions about athlete welfare in global sports, doesn't it?
Definitely does.
Especially planning big tournaments in summer months in places known for heat raises critical questions about long-term sustainability, player safety, as these tournaments get bigger and go global.
Absolutely. The conditions set a unique, challenging backdrop. Now, let's turn to the contenders themselves, get a quick snapshot of their pre-match context. First up, Borussia Dortmund. How were they looking domestically and in Europe before this Club World Cup clash? What kind of form did they bring?
Dortmund had a season that was, well, solid. Ultimately successful in meeting their goals, but definitely not without challenges. They finished 4th in the Bundesliga, 57 points, got their Champions League spot for next season.
Okay, standard Dortmund almost.
Pretty much. Their European run saw them reach the Champions League quarterfinals, where they lost to a strong Barcelona side. What's kind of notable about their season, though, is it started with some struggles. Inconsistent form early on.
Right, I remember that.
But there was a significant turnaround, a real improvement, after coach Niko Kovac took over mid-season. He seemed to instill a new tactical discipline, intensity, effectively righted the ship, got them playing consistently at a higher level, so they brought a surge of confidence into this new Club World Cup.
Okay, so coming in with some momentum. And what about their opponents, Ulsan Hyundai? For listeners maybe less familiar with Asian soccer, they might not be as globally known as Dortmund, but they came in with a really impressive pedigree from their home league, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Ulsan Hyundai came into this tournament as a truly formidable force in South Korean soccer. Now, yeah, they were sitting 5th in the K-League at the time, 29 points, trailing the leaders Jeonbuk Hyundai by 13 points.
Which sounds okay, but...
But that domestic league position doesn't tell the whole story of their recent dominance. Crucially, Ulsan were the reigning K-League champions. And not just once, they'd won the title an astounding 3 consecutive times before this tournament.
3 in a row.
3 in a row. Established them as a kind of dynasty in South Korean soccer, known for disciplined defense, tactical smarts, ability to grind out results. They were used to winning trophies, and they brought that winning mentality even against a, perceived stronger opponent.
And this specific match wasn't just any game for either side. It carried the weight of a truly historic first, didn't it?
Indeed. You can't overstate the historical significance here. This was the very first meeting between these two clubs, ever. First time Dortmund had ever played a Korean team, and conversely, the first time Ulsan had ever faced a German opponent. Yeah. Plus, adding to Ulsan's challenge, they came in with a pretty sobering Club World Cup record. Before this match, 0 wins, 6 losses in previous appearances.
Ouch, 0-6.
Yeah. So for Ulsan, this wasn't just about getting out of the group. It was a chance to rewrite their own Club World Cup history, break a long-standing jinx against a really formidable European club. All this context just underscores the unique nature of what was about to unfold.
So with all that anticipation, that unique context built up, the whistle blows. game on. And after 90 grueling minutes, the final score, as we mentioned, Borussia Dortmund 1, Ulsan Hyundai 0.
1-0.
This outcome confirmed Dortmund moves on to the round of 16 as Group F winners. Ulsan, despite a really valiant effort, unfortunately eliminated.
A decisive result, yes, but one that, as we'll keep digging into, really belies the intense story of the game itself. That single goal, though, was undeniably the moment. The opportunity that ultimately swung it for Dortmund secured their spot in the next round.
Let's zoom right in on that critical sequence. The breakthrough came in the 36th minute. The scorer, Daniel Svensson, 23-year-old Swedish attacker. The crucial assist came from Dortmund's rising star, Jobe Bellingham. Can you walk us through how that goal actually happened? Paint us a picture.
Yeah, it was a pretty classic example of relentless pressing and just capitalizing on an opponent's momentary lapse, especially under that kind of pressure Dortmund applies.
Right.
The sequence started deep in Ulsan's half. They were trying to play out from the back, but a critical misplayed pass right near their own goal line. Just a moment of uncharacteristic sloppiness from Ulsan's usually tight defense.
Costly.
Very costly. Jobe Bellingham, with his typical athleticism, sharp anticipation, he was quick to react. Intercepted that stray pass, seized the chance clinically, didn't hesitate. Delivered a perfectly weighted cross right into the heart of the Ulsan penalty area. And Daniel Svensson, showing great positional awareness, had drifted intelligently into space. Met the cross with a clean, left-footed strike from maybe 10 yards out. Placed it beyond the keeper's reach, found the net.
Bang. Goal.
Exactly. And that moment just vividly shows how, in a tight, high-stakes game against a really well-organized defense, a single, unforced error, coupled with clinical execution, can be the absolute difference maker. That one moment seized changed the whole trajectory.
Beyond the goal itself, how would you characterize the discipline, the temperament of the players? Intense game, high stakes, brutal heat. We saw a few yellow cards handed out.
We did, yeah. And those cautions kind of give you a glimpse into the match's competitive edge, the physical toll it took.
Oh.
For Dortmund, both Jobe Bellingham, actually shortly after his assist, and Felix Meka got yellows for fouls.
Okay.
On Ulsan's side, key defender Kim Min-hyuk and wingback Kang Sang-woo were booked. Now, these cards, rather than indicating like overly aggressive play, mostly suggest the sheer intensity, the competitiveness. Some fouls were likely tactical, breaking up Dortmund's rhythm, preventing quick counters. Others might have just stemmed from fatigue in the heat, leading to slightly mistimed challenges. Tells you there was a constant battle going on, both teams pushing the limits to get an edge or disrupt the opponent.
And of course, in a game like this, especially in that heat, coaching adjustments, substitutions, they become absolutely vital, not just tactically, but for player welfare too. How do the managers try to shift things, inject fresh energy, alter strategies through changes?
Well, Dortmund's coach, Niko Kovac, made a really bold, aggressive move early in the second half. Around the 58th minute, he initiated a triple substitution.
Triple? Wow.
Yeah, brought on Julian Brandt, Julian Duranville, and Maximilian Bayer. Took off Felix Netsche, Karuma Daimi, and the assist provider, Jobe Bellingham.
Okay, so big changes in attack.
Exactly. The intent here seemed multifaceted, but pretty clear. Kovac wanted to keep up that relentless offensive pressure against Ulsan's deep defense. Inject a huge dose of fresh legs to combat the heat and fatigue, and potentially shift the attacking dynamics with different player profiles.
Right. Brent brings creativity, the others maybe more pace.
Precisely. Brandt for creative passing, Duranville and Bayer for directness and speed. This was Kovac pushing for a second goal, refusing to just sit on one arrow. And later, Gio Reyna also made his Club World Cup debut, 78th minute, adding even more attacking intent.
Trying to kill the game off. And Ulsan's response, how did their coach, Kim Pan-gon, react?
Ulsan made two changes, likely responses to Dortmund's pressure and, of course, the conditions. At halftime, 45th minute, Ko Sung-beom came on for Kim Min-hyuk. Could have been tactical, shoring up midfield, or maybe a response to Kim's yellow card, preventing a potential second booking.
Smart, possibly.
Yeah. Then, at the 58-minute mark, same time as Dortmund's triple change, Park Min-seo replaced Matthias Lekava. These subs were primarily aimed at, re-energizing the squad, maybe shoring up the defense further, or just trying to find a new spark for their limited counterattacks. Maintaining energy was key in that heat.
It's also worth noting something that didn't happen, which can sometimes be just as significant. We heard there were no major VAR interventions during the match.
That's a really crucial observation. The absence of significant VAR checks suggests the head referee, Tori Penso from the USA, who managed the game pretty efficiently.
Yeah, she's well regarded.
Very. It suggests she made largely clear, correct decisions in real time, or at least there were no highly contentious moments needing that long review. In a tournament this big, so much at stake, a game without major refereeing controversy is often a sign of good officiating, and maybe even a testament to the players respecting the rules, despite the intensity and the tough conditions.
Allow the focus to stay on the soccer itself.
Exactly, not on debated decisions.
So a single decisive goal, strategic shifts from the benches, a remarkably clean game refereeing-wise. But as you said, the true narrative, that paradox of this match, really screams at you when you dig into the underlying numbers. Right, this is where we really start to unearth the hidden story of the match, moving beyond just that 1-0 scoreline to understand how it actually happened. Let's kick off with possession. Often tells a clear story of control, tactical intent.
Absolutely. And the possession stats here tell an immediate story about Dortmund's approach. They held a significant advantage, 59.7% of the ball compared to Ulsan's 40.3%.
So basically 60-40.
Pretty much. Clearly indicates Dortmund's strategy was controlling the game through the ball. Dictate the tempo, patiently circulate possession, try to move Ulsan's defensive block around, meticulously build up attacks. Speaks directly to their preference for a possession-based game, relying on their technical quality. They wanted to wear Ulsan down, find openings through sustained pressure.
And conversely, Ulsan's much lower possession. What does that tell us about their game plan, especially facing a team like Dortmund?
Well, you couple that lower possession with their comparatively limited passing count throughout the whole match, and it clearly points to a well-defined, defensive-first, counterattacking strategy.
Sit deep, hit on the break.
Exactly. They weren't looking to dominate the ball or engage in fancy build-up play. Their approach was pragmatic. Absorb pressure, maintain a compact, disciplined defensive shape, deny Dortmund's central space, and then, crucially, spring forward quickly on the counter whenever they want it back. It's a common, often effective strategy against technically superior teams. Frustrate them, then exploit transitions.
Now, for what I think are the most telling numbers, the shot statistics. This is where the game's inherent paradox, that surprise we mentioned right at the start, truly just leaps out. The raw difference is, well, it's astonishing.
You are absolutely right. The disparity here isn't just massive, it's almost unbelievable considering the 1-0 final score. Borussia Dortmund recorded a staggering 28 total shots throughout the match.
28.
Compared to Ulsan's mere 3. Just 3.
Wow, that's an enormous difference. Powerfully highlights Dortmund's overwhelming offensive pressure, doesn't it?
Totally. Paints a picture of a game where Dortmund spent almost the entire 90 minutes camped in Ulsan's half, constantly probing, creating, trying to find any way through that resolute defense. A relentless assault from the German side.
So, okay, 28 total shots from Dortmund. How many actually hit the target, forcing a save from Ulsan's keeper?
Dortmund managed to get 11 of their 28 shots on target. Ulsan, with their very limited attacks, actually registered all 3 of their shots on target.
Okay, so 11 on target for Dortmund, 3 for Ulsan. Still a big gap, but...
But here's the intriguing detail, the accuracy percentage that really defines this match.
And this, I think, is our big aha moment from the stats, the key insight that unlocks the mystery of why it was only 1-0. The shot accuracy numbers are just incredibly revealing.
This is it, the crux of the statistical story. Ulsan had an astonishing 100% shot accuracy. All 3 of their shots, limited as they were, found the target, forcing Gregor Kobel into action.
Every single one.
Every single one. Contrast that with Dortmund's 39.3% shot accuracy. So what does this immediately tell you, the listener, about Dortmund's dominance versus Ulsan's resilience?
It means, wait, out of Dortmund's 11 shots on target,
every single one, except for Daniel Svensson's goal, was saved by Ulsan's goalkeeper, Jobe Bellingham.
10 saves out of 11 shots on target.
Exactly. This highlights a critical point. While Dortmund had immense volume, maybe their shot quality against Ulsan's deep block and that exceptional keeper wasn't always top-notch.
Right, maybe forced into tougher shots.
Could be. Ulsan's defensive strategy, forcing Dortmund into less optimal shooting positions, maybe from outside the box, through crowded areas, combined with their keeper's heroics, it effectively neutralized that overwhelming shot count. It immediately puts the spotlight on Ulsan's defense and, most notably, their goalkeeper's incredible performance.
Yeah.
Raises the question, were Ulsan's chances truly that limited, or did they just make the absolute most of the scarce opportunities they created while making Dortmund work incredibly hard for every single one of theirs?
Incredible stuff. Let's look at a few other key metrics that kind of reinforce these trends. Dortmund's pressure. Ulsan's defensive resolve. Corners, for instance.
Dortmund earned 6 corners compared to Ulsan's solitary 1. Again, reinforces the story of Dortmund's attacking pressure, constantly putting the ball into dangerous areas around Ulsan's box, forcing clearances for corners. Another clear indicator of where the game was mostly played firmly in Ulsan's half, Dortmund dictating territory.
And fouls. Sometimes that tells you about physicality, or maybe disrupting rhythm.
Yeah, based on previous match records and just the flow of this game, Ulsan committed 14 fouls. This suggests a more physical, maybe disruptive approach from their side, consistent with that defensive, counterattacking plan.
Tactical fouls, maybe.
Likely, aimed at breaking up Dortmund's rhythm, slowing down attacks, or just being forced into tackles due to Dortmund's constant probing and quick movement. Speaks to their defensive intensity, their determination to deny Dortmund easy progress.
And finally, the true heroes of this statistical narrative. The goalkeepers. This is where the numbers just scream loudest about individual brilliance, especially from the losing side.
Undeniably. The stark contrast in save counts is the most compelling numerical evidence of individual impact. Jo Hyun-woo, the Ulsan keeper, made a phenomenal 10 saves.
10 saves.
10! To put that in perspective, Gregor Kobel, Dortmund's keeper, made 3 saves to get his clean sheet. Jo Hyun-woo's 10 saves, in a match where his team only managed 3 shots themselves and scored 0. That's just extraordinary.
Game-saving stuff, repeatedly.
Absolutely. It unequivocally frames him as the undisputed standout performer of the match, almost single-handedly keeping the score at 1-0 despite Dortmund's relentless assault. His performance truly transcended the team's result, preventing what could easily have been a much heavier defeat. He was the reason Ulsan were still in it right to the final whistle.
That's a staggering difference. And it really makes you want to understand more about the intricate strategic dance that unfolded on the field.
Okay, let's peel back another crucial layer now and look at the tactical battleground. The formations both teams used, and how these fundamental setups dictated the game's flow and dynamics. Borussia Dortmund, under Niko Kovac, they set up in a 3-4-2-1 formation. What did that tell us about their plan against Ulsan, and how did it leverage their squad's strengths?
Yeah, Dortmund's 3-4-2-1 is a really dynamic, flexible formation, chosen, you'd think, specifically to emphasize wide play and exert midfield control, especially against the deep-lying opponent like Ulsan.
Makes sense.
With a back three in this match, Nicolas Soulé, Waldemar Anton, Rami Bensabini, it gave them a solid defensive base, but also allowed their wide players, the wingbacks, to push really high up the pitch.
Get involved in the attack.
Totally. Players like Julian Ryerson and Daniel Svensson, who scored, were crucial in exploiting these wide areas, effectively turned the formation into almost a 3-2-5 when they were attacking, creating numerical overloads on the flanks, trying to stretch Ulsan out.
Exactly. Stretch Ulsan's defensive block horizontally, create space either out wide for crosses or centrally for their 2 attacking midfielders, Jobe Bellingham and Karim Adeyemi, initially to operate in. Those 2 were tasked with creativity, linking play, supporting the lone striker. It's a system designed to dominate possession, create width, and find intricate passing combinations to break down compact defenses.
Okay. And Ulsan, on the other side, they countered with a 5-3-2.
Yeah.
That immediately screams defensive first, incredibly compact, designed purely to frustrate Dortmund. Right?
So it absolutely screams defense first.
Yeah.
Ulsan's 5-3-2 is fundamentally designed with 5 defenders across the back line, forming a deep, incredibly compact block. Their primary goal, defensive solidity.
Is deny space.
Deny Dortmund space in central areas, funnel their attacks wide where maybe it's less dangerous, make it incredibly difficult for Dortmund to penetrate through the middle. Players like Captain Kim Young-gwan, veterans, were linchpins of this solid back line, constantly organizing, communicating. The midfield 3 would drop deep too, creating 2 very narrow lines of 4 and 5. Effectively suffocating Dortmund's attacking midfielders, forcing them into maybe speculative shots from distance or difficult angles.
Which explains the low shot accuracy for Dortmund, perhaps.
Partly, yes. And when Ulsan won possession, they aimed to transition rapidly, often bypassing the midfield with longer passes to their 2 strikers, looking to exploit any space left by Dortmund's high-pushing wingbacks. This formation explained their limited shot count, their lower possession. They weren't designed to have the ball. They were designed to deny Dortmund the ball in dangerous areas and then hit them quickly on the counter.
So we had these contrasting tactical blueprints. What about the coaching philosophies behind them? Niko Kovac for Dortmund, Kim Pan-gon for Ulsan. How did their overarching strategies really manifest in this specific match?
Well, Niko Kovac's philosophy for Dortmund was clearly rooted in aggressive, high-intensity attacking play. He emphasized creating chances by exploiting wide areas, using his team's superior speed and technical skill in 1v1s, maintaining relentless pressure.
Yeah, triple sub showed that.
Exactly. His proactive triple sub in the second half wasn't just about fresh legs. It explicitly reflected his desire to maintain offensive intensity, find that second goal to kill the game, not sit back and defend 1-0. He wanted his team on the front foot, winning decisively, showcasing their attacking strength.
And Kim Pangon for Ulsan. What were the hallmarks of his approach in this game?
Kim Pangon, on the other hand, displayed a really pragmatic, defensively smart philosophy. His primary emphasis was on meticulous defensive organization, ensuring his team kept a disciplined shape, and then capitalizing on any counter-attacking chances that popped up.
Making the most of limited opportunities.
Precisely. He relied heavily on his team's collective discipline, their commitment to making it incredibly difficult for Dortmund. When they did win the ball, they looked to transition quickly, often through the pace of wingbacks like Kang Sang-woo and Gustav Ludwigsen, trying to exploit any space Dortmund left behind. It was a clear, intelligent approach designed to frustrate a stronger, more attacking opponent and give themselves, a puncher's chance.
Finally, let's really highlight some individual brilliance. Because even in a team sport, certain players just step up, especially under pressure. We've talked about them already. But let's truly delve into the man of the match, the undeniable standout. Jo Hyun-woo from Ulsan.
He is, without a shadow of a doubt, the absolute heart of this entire match's story. His performance was, well, nothing short of extraordinary. Making 10 saves against that relentless Dortmund onslaught was crucial in keeping the scoreline at just 1-0.
Kept them in the game.
Absolutely. Prevented what could easily have spiraled into a rout. His agility, his positioning, his incredible shot stopping were on full display for 90 minutes. There were moments of just pure instinctive brilliance.
Like what? Can you recall any specific ones?
Oh, yeah. There was a diving fingertip save to deny a curling shot from Julian Brandt that looked destined for the top corner. A point-blank block from Maximilian Baer that came so fast, so powerfully, it seemed certain to go in. His quick reflexes to parry away a low drive from Svensson that could easily have been Dortmund's second. And the German media, often pretty critical, specifically lauded his performance. Some commentators even drew direct parallels to his memorable 2018 World Cup performance.
Yes, the South Korea versus Germany game.
Exactly, where South Korea famously beat Germany 2-0, and he was equally heroic. They called him, quite eloquently, the star guarding Ulsan's defense. Stood tall, gave his team a fighting chance against overwhelming odds, right until the final whistle.
Incredible performance. And of course, we have to acknowledge the match winner for Dortmund, Daniel Svensson. His goal was the difference at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Daniel Svensson's goal was exactly what Dortmund needed, a moment of clinical finishing when it mattered most. And beyond that decisive strike, he had a strong overall game, especially in the first half. Really active in Dortmund's attacks. As he himself said afterwards, he felt Dortmund dominated, and he was a key part of that forward momentum, making smart runs, looking for space.
And Jobe Bellingham, the assist man, also played a pretty significant creative role for Dortmund, didn't he?
Yeah. Jobe Bellingham was pivotal creatively for Dortmund, particularly in that first half. His assist for Svensson's goal was perfectly weighted, showed great vision, precise execution under pressure. He was consistently involved in many of Dortmund's most promising attacking moves, showing his ability to unlock Ulsan's compact defense with incisive passes, intelligent movement. A lot of Dortmund's rhythm flowed through him.
And let's not forget Gregor Kobel, the Dortmund keeper, secured the clean sheet, albeit with considerably fewer saves than his counterpart.
True. While maybe overshadowed by Jo Hyun-woo's heroics, Kobel's 3 saves and his clean sheet were absolutely vital for Dortmund's win. He did what he needed to do when called upon. Reliable, commanding his area effectively.
Made the saves he had to make.
Exactly. Ulsan's limited shots on target meant he wasn't constantly bombarded, but his presence, his concentration ensured their rare on-target efforts didn't find the net. Every clean sheet is a team effort, but the keeper's calm, reliable presence is key to achieving it. Allows the unbackers to focus on their job.
So a true masterclass in goalkeeping from one side, and a testament to tactical discipline, even in defeat from the other. Really paints a richer picture than that 1-0 scoreline initially suggests. Okay, now that we've broken down the match itself, the tactics, the individual brilliance, let's hear directly from the people closest to the action, the coaches and players. And then look at how the media and fans reacted. What did Niko Kovac, the winning Dortmund coach, have to say after securing their spot in the next round? Kovac expressed a clear sense of satisfaction with his team's performance. He particularly noted their improved ability to create numerous scoring chances compared to their previous two group games, which suggests his tactical focus on offense was working.
Good sign for them.
Yeah, but he was quick to acknowledge the formidable challenge Ulsan presented defensively. And with real sportsmanship, he specifically offered high praise for Ulsan's outstanding goalkeeper.
Nice touch.
Yeah, that respectful assessment from the winning coach shows Kovac knew the quality of his opponent and the exceptional individual performance that made his team work so hard for the win. He understood how close it really was, despite the stats.
And Kim Pan-gon, the Ulsan coach, how did he reflect on his team's elimination, their valiant effort against a European giant?
Kim Pan-gon was admirably candid, really. Frankly admitted there was a clear gap in strength between his Ulsan team and Dortmund, especially in overall squad depth, individual quality.
Honest assessment.
Very. But despite the defeat, the elimination, he also conveyed immense pride in his team's unwavering fight. Emphasized they battled right to the end, showed incredible resilience, commitment for their supporters back home. He saw it as a positive sign that his team could compete relatively equally for long stretches against such a strong European side. Showed their tactical discipline, their spirit, despite the talent gap. A realistic yet really honorable take on their performance.
What about the players themselves? Let's start with Daniel Svensson, the guy who got the winning goal for Dortmund. What were his feelings after?
Svensson pretty much echoed his coach. Expressed genuine happiness with Dortmund's overall performance, especially the first half where he felt they really dominated, created lots of chances. But he did admit a touch of regret, saying he wished they'd scored more goals.
Wanted a bigger cushion.
Exactly. Indicates a desire for a more comfortable win, reflecting the team's wish to convert that overwhelming statistical dominance into a more decisive scoreline, especially given the chances they had.
And Jo Hyun-woo, the Ulsan keeper.
Yeah.
The man of the match in a losing effort. What were his thoughts on his heroic performance, the game overall?
Jo Hyun-woo, despite the obvious disappointment of being knocked out, showed a remarkable composure perspective. He thoughtfully focused on the extreme weather, acknowledging the immense physical challenge it posed for both teams.
Yeah, it must have been tough for keepers, too.
Absolutely. And crucially, quite memorably for soccer fans, he also reflected on his now legendary 2018 World Cup performance.
Against Germany again.
Exactly. Where South Korea pulled off that stunning upset. This reflection added a profound, personal, historical dimension to his post-match thoughts. Framed his current heroics against German opposition in the broader context of his career's defining moments. Showed incredible mental fortitude, self-awareness to contextualize his brilliance even amidst team defeat.
Beyond the locker rooms, what was the immediate buzz like? Social media, mainstream news. I imagine that scorching heat was a huge talking point.
Oh, it absolutely dominated the conversation online. The extreme temperatures became this popular, unavoidable topic. Fans, commentators, everyone marveling at the conditions. Dortmund's official social media even posted a relatable bit showing their subs watching the first half from the cool of the locker room.
Well, it's a smart move.
Yeah, highlighted the human element, the real challenges of those environmental stressors, offered a glimpse into how teams tried to adapt.
And how did the mainstream news frame the match right afterwards?
Major global outlets like ESPN, Reuters, AP largely focused on the key moments, the outcome. Headlines reflected Dortmund's progression. Svensson goal ensures Dortmund Club World Cup advancement from ESPN. Reuters noted Dortmund edge past Ulsan to reach Club World Cup last 16. AP specifically highlighted Daniel Svensson's 36-minute goal guides Dortmund to 1-0 win over Ulsan.
So pretty straightforward reporting on the result.
Primarily, yes. Focused on Dortmund getting the expected win, though many reports definitely made sure to mention the incredible goalkeeping performance that kept the score so tight.
Now, while there were no on-field controversies, VAR, or refereeing issues, you mentioned the extreme conditions themselves sparked a different, maybe more significant kind of discussion.
That's right. The extreme heat, though not leading to VAR debates, definitely sparked broader discussions in the soccer community about player welfare, the physical demands on athletes, and the wisdom of scheduling high-stakes games in such tough summer conditions.
Yeah, especially with the 2026 World Cup coming up.
Exactly. That's a particularly relevant point with the 2026 World Cup also being held across North America in the summer, with many host cities known for intense heat and humidity. It raises important questions for organizers. Kickoff times, water breaks, maybe even rule adjustments, adaptation strategies, fundamentally ensuring player safety in increasingly extreme global climates.
It's a huge issue going forward.
Yeah.
And the universal praise for Jo Hyun-woo, did that persist beyond the immediate reaction?
Absolutely. The commendation for the Ulsan keeper was truly widespread, persistent. As we discussed, his performance got unanimous praise, particularly from German sports media, who were quick to draw those vivid connections to his 2018 World Cup heroics against their national team. Consistently highlighted as that star guarding Ulsan's defense, embodying resilience, individual brilliance against the odds, really solidified his reputation as a big gamekeeper.
So Dortmund won, they moved on, but definitely not without a serious fight. What's next for them in this inaugural expanded tournament? Who could they face?
Dortmund's win as Group F winners sets them up for a challenging round of 16 match. They'll face the second-place team from Group E, and that group comprised three very strong clubs from different confederations: Italian giants Inter Milan, Argentine powerhouse River Plate, or Mexican champions Monterrey.
Wow. Tough draw no matter who it is.
Exactly. Promises another fascinating tactical battle. That match is scheduled for July 1st, set to be played in Atlanta. So yeah, the challenges certainly don't get any easier for them as they go deeper into this Club World Cup.
A truly fascinating encounter that revealed so much more than meets the eye. Hashtag tag outro. So what a deep dive this has been into the intricate layers of this seemingly simple yet profoundly complex soccer match between Borussia Dortmund and Ulsan Hyundai. It really unfolded as a compelling case study, didn't it? The relentless European tactical efficiency of Dortmund meeting the absolutely outstanding, resilient Asian goalkeeping excellence of Ulsan.
Indeed. We saw Dortmund's disciplined progression, showcasing their overall strength, their strategic planning to overcome a really stubborn opponent. And we saw Ulsan's honorable exit, a team that fought tooth and nail, marked by that unforgettable, transcendent individual performance from Jo Hyun-woo.
Yeah.
It was a match that truly highlighted the paradox of sustained domination without an overwhelming scoreline. Forced us to look beyond just the final count, didn't it?
Definitely. And when we connect the specific details of this match back to larger overarching themes, what fundamental lessons does this game tell us about the evolving global landscape of soccer?
Well, I think it illustrates several critical points for the future of the sport. Firstly, the increasing importance of individual brilliance, especially in positions like goalkeeping, where one player can, as Jo Hyun-woo showed, single-handedly alter the narrative and competitiveness of a game, even against vastly superior teams on paper.
Right, one player making a huge difference.
Huge. Secondly, and maybe even more critically, it highlights the significant and growing impact of environmental factors, like extreme weather, on high-stakes sporting events, forcing organizers, teams, even players to adapt in unprecedented ways. This match, played under that blazing Cincinnati sun, serves as a crucial learning experience for how future global tournaments must consider and mitigate climate challenges.
Can't ignore it anymore.
No. And it also shows how a well-drilled, defensively disciplined team from a, let's say, a less historically dominant league can stand toe-to-toe, even if it's in a losing effort, with a European powerhouse. Suggests maybe a gradual closing of that perceived global talent gap.
Interesting point. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a provocative thought for you, our listener, to
Yeah.
maybe ponder long after this fades. What does Jo Hyun-woo's extraordinary performance in a losing effort tell us about the true definition of victory or impact in sports? Was his personal triumph, his individual resilience against overwhelming odds, maybe in some ways more memorable or impactful than Dortmund's expected, but hard-fought win?
That's a great question.
And as we look ahead to future global tournaments, like that highly anticipated 2026 World Cup, also in North America in the summer, how might these extreme environmental conditions continue to profoundly shape the game, forcing organizers and teams to adapt in unprecedented ways to protect players and maintain the integrity of the sport?
It's a critical question, one that will undoubtedly influence strategy, player welfare protocols, maybe even the fundamental scheduling of major international soccer matches for decades to come moving forward.
Something substantial to chew on as you go about your day, truly. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you walk away a little more informed, perhaps a lot more curious, and with a fresh perspective on the beautiful game of soccer.